Well, at the beginning of today's service, Bruce asked me if I'd introduce our speaker today. And I thought about what I was going to say about Mr. Tom Baker. And I had an experience today that I want to share with you. During our meditation, you asked me to stand up at the end when we came to the end of the Seven Terrace meditation, and to go to the edge and look down the mountain and see what I could see. To my surprise, standing next to me was Tom. And it was an amazing experience. Tom has shared with us at this church so many times and on so many levels. Today I've seen him at a different level. As we stood there together, I watched the white light come down into Tom's crown, go through his body, and then this white light around his abdomen. And I looked at it and I wondered what I was sharing with him, what we were seeing. And what I realized is Tom does a lot of speaking. As a Catholic priest, he's touched so many people. As a minister here at our fellowship, he has counseling people. He's touched so many people. But what's making him touch those people and deliver that wonderful message is the divinity that he keeps inside of him. And that's what I believe I saw today, Tom. So I bow to your divinity today. And I thank you for being here with us. And I know the words that you've put down on paper that you are going to share with us today comes from within that white light. And I'm honored to have you at our church today. Thank you, Tom.
Well, let me see what is in the glass here. It's water. Well, I have had a kind of experience in the last several months that I've never had before. And the experience is with angels. I've usually been a fairly, do-it-yourself kind of person. In other words, it's all up to me. I've been responsible, and I've said, well, I have to do it. And about a couple of months ago, a woman I have in therapy said to me, why don't you call in the angels sometimes to help you? And I said, well, I don't know about that, And she said, well, just try it. You do everything here alone. You're all by yourself all the time, except when someone is with you. You do your work alone. Why don't you ask for help? And I thought, well, okay. So I had a really tough marriage case coming in. People who probably were at their last, they were just hanging on by a little thread of love and respect, just a little bit. And I called the angels in. We had a wonderful session. I thought, well, I don't know about that. That might be true and it might not. So I tested it again. And time after time, wonderful things happened. So I would like to honor the angels this morning by giving you the talk that I gave 40 years ago to a group of theologians and bishops about the guardian angels. This was on the Feast of the Guardian Angel, which is October the 2nd. In the Catholic Church, we have feasts and we celebrate different saints and angels, and October the 2nd is the Feast of Guardian Angels. And when I got up to speak, the bishops had on their mitres, and I looked out and I said, this looks like a Klan meeting in some ways, And nobody laughed. So it was an uphill battle that day. But this is called the Guardian, and it celebrates the Feast of Guardian Angels. Several Christmases ago, the Book of the Month Club gave all of its members a little book about angels. Christmas, they figured, is a time for angels. A clever booklet about angels would be just right for the season. The little book was in perfect taste. It neither ridiculed angels nor did it glorify them. The booklet simply illustrated a feature of Christmas, a colorful addition to a holiday coffee table. For the Book of the Month Club, angels were just another charming legend of Christmas. For us, angels may not exactly be legends, but they often are little more than curiosities. It is hard for us, and I might say here hard for me, to celebrate the Feast of Guardian Angels, because we have pretty much stopped believing in angels. We really don't take angels seriously anymore. We connect angels with a pie-in-the-sky spirituality, nourished by statues that look like embalmed people. If we hear of someone who has a special devotion to angels, we immediately picture those self-condemning, creepy religious folks who clutter their houses and their lives with a lot of transcendental junk. For them, an angel's either a fat little airborne baby or a cow-eyed young man in a gown and wings. Popular piety has made angels ridiculous. The idea of a guardian angel is even more outrageous. One thinks of a feathery Secret Service agent shadowing your every move, hustling you away from temptations to impurity. Notice this was the Catholic Church. Screaming for you to tromp on the brakes just in time. The caricatures of angels are drawn in the dust of centuries. These caricatures are hardly believable. So, what are we celebrating today? Do we believe in angels? Can we really take angels seriously anymore? This group nods their heads, yes. The other group nodded their heads. If we turn to the Gospels and look at when angels appear, we find them showing up at times when people need to trust God unconditionally. Angels pop up at moments when enormous faith is demanded, not requested, demanded. An angel gives Zechariah the unbelievable news that creaky old Elizabeth, despite hardening of the arteries and arthritis, is going to have a baby. Zechariah laughs in the angel's face, and Gabriel lets him have it. Zechariah loses his cynicism and his voice to an angel's fury. Mary, untouched, barely wooed, learns from Gabriel that she is suddenly to be a mother, because nothing is impossible to God. Mary didn't laugh. She trusted the angel, and here we are. With Herod's Gestapo agents bearing down on them, an angel tells Joseph to hightail it out of Palestine. Without a question, the carpenter hustles his wife and child off to Egypt that very night. In the wilderness, his head spinning from Satan's legalistic riddles, the master is watched over by angels. At Gethsemane, Jesus, not at all sure of himself, lonely and in tears, is ministered to by angels. And it is an angel perched on a rock, dangling his bright bare feet, who tells the women at the tomb the quizzical news that becomes the good news. He is risen. Faith, trust, the occasion for an angel. It is strange that at times, when the need for faith is greatest, an angel appears. When there is no time for redaction, no more room for doubt, when people need most to trust God, suddenly there's an angel. Now, there are two groups in society, two often oppressed minorities, who still believe in angels. Each of us has belonged to the first group, and we all will at one time or another someday join the second. The first group of angel enthusiasts is young children. The second group is the dying. Young children have no trouble with angels at all. In fact, little kids are rather delighted with the idea. Superman, Spider-Man, the enormous Hulk, they're all secular angels. Real angels are even better. The dying, according to Kubler-Ross and others, have strange visitors whom they sometimes know as angels. Hallucinations of despair, mumbles the doctor absently, thinking of his golf game that afternoon. But the dying patient muses to herself, at last, a messenger of hope. Young children and the dying share the same dependencies. Both are subject to the same humiliations. Both groups depend on others to feed them and wash them. Young children must be carried to the bathroom, and the dying often must have the bathroom carried to them. Humiliating, undignified. An occasion for unquestioning trust. An occasion for angels. Maybe the reason we don't believe in angels is that we don't have to. Unlike young children and the dying, we can take care of ourselves. We have a self-actualizing spirituality. We're grown up. We're healthy. Ours is an adult church. Angels, bah. Pre-Vatican II curiosities. Fantasies for kids and old folks. In the gospel for today, Jesus' disciples approach him with their favorite question. Who's going to be number one in the kingdom of heaven? Who will be numero umero in the big pecking order in the sky? Probably exasperated, Jesus grabs a child from the back row, a kid with chocolate on his face and a dirty diaper who's been standing on tiptoe, trying to see over all these grown-ups' fat heads. Jesus holds him up and in effect says, being number one is like being this little child. In the kingdom of heaven, great is small and small is great. And guardian angels are part of the small that is great. At the moment when that child comes to live for good in our hearts, at that moment when we leap into the clear, dark space between survival and surrender, when faith is no longer a matter of religious belief, but a demand of life itself, at that moment, we may meet our guardian angel. And we might say to him or her, why, I believed in you when I was a little child. And the angel may reply, and I have believed in you all along. Thank you, angels.